I worked for Walmart 17 years. I come from a poor background in a rural area. I was the first one in my family that went to college, you know, and it's like, I think it's amazing them I got through high school, you want to know the truth. I worked in the Supercenter division, specialty divisions, as general manager for Sam's Club, and I was promoted and moved from O'Fallon, Illinois to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Nice little country town with just country people there. I'm proud that I work for Walmart. I'm not proud of what I did for Walmart. Walmart should feel the same betrayal from somebody blowing the whistle on them as of all the hundreds of thousands of associates that they have betrayed. I watched so many people go without lunch in the lounges that I stopped eating in the lounges because I just had my managers eating there because I just couldn't stand it. They just wouldn't eat, and we weren't allowed to offer them any money. And there were people I see that didn't eat nothing. They'd take an hour lunch and just sit there. And I had people that worked there that were on welfare and working, or their husbands were totally disabled, and we're paying them $6.75 or $7.75 an hour. And on any given day, if you, for some reason, you just happen to tick off one of the managers, you can just be, if you're full time, you can just work 28 hours a week. And if you tick them off bad enough, no matter even if you're just a subpar performer, just at the blink of an eye, they'll get rid of you. They'll find a reason. I found a lot of reasons and set people in a lot of positions to where they would fail just so I'd look good for my boss. Associates are disposable to them, just like that we flick a toothpick away after we get through with it. The philosophy of the company, do more with less. And I know the true meaning of do more with less. They want the associates to do more, and they're going to pay them less. And even though that I paid some of my managers really well, it was the associates that suffered. And in the Walmart culture, if you're a manager, that's great. You know, if you can squeeze every dime out of them, you go for it. And it doesn't matter what happens to their families. If they fall apart, they get sick, you know, to hell with them. I always had a manager that eat in the lounge with the associates, and if anything was brought up about any terms, any union terms whatsoever brought up, we watched that associate first time we caught them talking to somebody about something. It didn't matter what it was. If we couldn't tell what they were talking about, we terminated them too. And that was just the beginning. Whenever I was transferred to Annapolis, Maryland, which was probably the worst time of my life, I was briefed on what to do when I got up there, and they had just come off of a union campaign, and to offset the vote, they had transferred 33 associates into the Sam's Club. And as far as I know, from what I was told by the director of operations at the time, I did find out later that they had backdated all the transfers to make the people legal enough to vote. And when I brought this to the director of operations' attention, she told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and I just need to leave it alone. We used to drive downtown and just say, well, this will be a ghost town soon. And, you know, kind of proud of the fact that we work for big Walmart. We're coming in a small town. We are somebody, you know, almost like we're taking over. To hell with it. Walmart buy the damn town. You know, we'll shut them down. And we used to drive through towns going 6 months, 3 months, 6 months of when we'd be closing them. And unfortunately, watched a lot of businesses close. And although, you know, Walmart says they'll hold this meeting and they'll help people, they'll send people in to help your business, you know. Well, that's great if you're telling your story on TV about what Walmart's doing for you, and then as soon as it's publicized or on TV, you know what, they pull the ad and dump you and they're gone. The unwritten rule, there's just so many unwritten rules that you have to deal with. You know, and I say, you don't know. It just makes me very uncomfortable to think, because I think of all the things that I've done wrong, and it makes me mad at myself because nobody told me to do it. But if you didn't do it, you're going to be in trouble. And other people hear this might not know what I'm talking about. Well, how can you make somebody do something if you don't tell them? It's because the reaction of your district manager that puts you in a position to where you have no alternative but to do what they want you to do. So you got the choice of feeling guilty about doing something wrong, or being afraid that you're not satisfying your supervisor. And that's a trap that people get into. That's the unwritten rules right there. Do you ever cover up people working off the clock? I can't answer that question. And the reason I can't answer that question is because no matter what I say, I'm still guilty. Because I may not have done it, but I may have instructed someone else to do it. I consider myself the mob boss, and I'd have one of my lieutenants / co-manager axe people, go get on to people. They were the disciplinarians or the assistant principal, however you want to put it. But those were the ones that kicked ass, and I was the nice guy. I've seen managers go in when someone worked 41, 42 hours and change it to 40 hours. I never directly authorized anybody to do that, but I turned my back whenever I saw it happening. And that's just as bad. If I was a devil's advocate, I'd say nobody made you do those things. Nobody told you you had to do those things. Well, if that's true, then why have I worked with all these people all these years, and they all think like me and feel the same pressures and are doing the same things? People would transfer in from other states, and I'd catch them shaving payroll. Now, you think that was an isolated incident? That might be if there's one of your managers doing it. But if you have 8 and they're all talking about doing it, and they all come from different district managers, different states, different stores, they all train, how would they all know about it and know how to do it? I'm not the only one that did it. I've seen every manager except for one general manager do it. The gentleman that was over the building of Walmart, he was like the real estate supervisor. I can't remember exactly what his title was. Thought we would probably have a problem with the sign. And the building inspector red tagged it. And the next thing I know, that there's an overnight, they call me and tell me there's an overnight package coming for me, and I'm to take it to this person. And so the envelope wasn't sealed. And so I just opened it up, and there's a $10,000 check, and I don't remember who it was made out to. And I gave it to the individual, and the very next day, the red tag's off the sign. "2020's out, hitting Walmart to check to see if it's really made in America." So I immediately just go out there and I start looking around to see if I have any signs up say made in America. I only had 106 signs out there, made in America. And the funny part about it is, after I got to thinking about it and walking around, it was made in Yugoslavia, China, Bangladesh. There wasn't but one rack that was there that was made in America. And that's whenever I thought, this is starting to really make me mad and worry me, because you know what? If the media comes in here, even though we got this little media card and they call this person and they talk, and the worst thing you can say is no comment, well, that's all good, but it's a lie, and I'm not going to lie. Well, I'm not going to lie to people anymore. Life began after Walmart, because you don't know the quality of life you can really have once you get out of the company, because you get caught up in that culture, that cult, whatever you want to call it, and it just consumes you. It's almost like, when soldiers come home from Iraq, they go through the debriefing, It's almost like when you leave Walmart, you have to be debriefed to know how to be a human being. And the worst part about it is that nobody will ever know how big this is, what happens to people, and there's got to be more people like me out there, but they're too afraid to say anything. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that works for Walmart's in management are not going to talk on camera while they're still working for Walmart. That's a death sentence right there. And let me tell you something. I still have a certain fear of retaliation without working for them.